out from the crowd. We've designed luxurious, innovative spaces to cultivate creativity and defy boredom. From now on, meetings will never be the same again. Stand out from the crowd at redcowmoranhotel.com.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Thanks very much. Great to have you with us. So finally, you've been watching the last couple of weeks, I'm sure, and a few weeks have gone by, and now it's Kerry's turn to get out this weekend and get moving and get the season started. I guess you especially must be itching to get a good, proper summer of football under your belt.
I am. I'm mad for a road now. It came around quick though, you know, like about 6 weeks ago, I said, we still have 6 weeks of championship, and next thing it's just 4 or 5 days out, you know, 3 days out. It just flies around. Just get a perspective of what's going on in the championship.
So, sorry about that. We jumped the gun. That is James O'Donoghue, which will bring you in just 1 second when I give you the context. By the way, there's messages continuing to flood in for Tom Parsons. You can get him at Tom Parsons _8, by the way. Lots of you are already. I can see them flooding in for him. PML says, all of Mayo behind you, Tom. You'll bounce back stronger than ever. Lisa, excellent chat with Tom, excellent attitude, and another short message wishing you all the very best, Tom. Enjoy the time it offers you to explore opportunities off the pitch. Rob Letters, great interview, Tom. Inspirational, down-to-earth guy. Sinead Maguire, super interview. Best of luck with the recovery, Tom. And then Emmett Kane says, I effing love Tom Parsons. What a man. So that's the general gist of things. So you heard the start there of James O'Donoghue. James O'Donoghue was in studio on Monday. He was here as AIB announced and celebrated a 5-year extension to their 27-year ongoing GAA sponsorship. So he was up, and we decided to catch up with the 2014 Footballer of the Year. Since 2014, he's had a terrible time with injuries. No full season has been untouched. And things get underway for James and for Kerry this Sunday, Fitzgerald Stadium, 3:30. They're up against Clare. So here's James O'Donoghue.
Thanks very much.
Great to have you with us. So finally, you've been watching the last couple of weeks, I'm sure, and a few weeks have gone by, and now it's Kerry's turn to get out this weekend and get moving and get the season started. I guess you especially must be itching to get a good, proper summer of football under your belt.
I am. I'm mad for a road now. It came around quick though, you know, like about 6 weeks ago, I said, we still have 6 weeks of championship, and next thing it's just 4 or 5 days out, you know, 3 days out. It just flies around. So it's nice to watch a couple of other games, get a perspective of what's going on in the championship.
Yeah.
And then just concentrate on your own job, you know. It's nice to I like watching all the other games, but...
Do you? Because some lads have no interest in watching other games.
No, I'd watch the football, all right, yeah. I watch them all now at the moment, but
is it
work or enjoyment?
Work or enjoyment, or are you trying to like suss out opponents and are you taking notes in mentally almost, or is it actually I just like watching football?
I like watching it, yeah. Right. I like watching it because at the moment it's tactical enough football at the moment, like, you know. I was saying before that usually it's kind of one system dominates the country, you know, but at the moment you've lots of different stuff going on, like there's free-flowing football going on, there's defensive with counter-attack play, almost like Liverpool, then there's teams who are slow build-up, you know. Even that Northern game, the last day between Monaghan and Tyrone was a great watch because it was very high scoring, but it was different kind of a pace, you know. They weren't going helter-skelter, they were just very set and very good score taking. It was kind of clever play. So it was nice to see all the different kind of tactics going on. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think we talk about them enough in the media, really. It's just, a blanket term, ironically, is blanket defence.
That's gone now, I say.
I know, there's so much more variety, and as you said, like, we don't often enough say, well, they're a counter-attacking team. Whereas in football, I know from your Twitter account, you're a big football fan and you're watching the Premier League. We talk about counter-attacking teams. We talk about possession teams, defensive teams. We don't really do enough of that, I think, maybe in football.
No, but it's the exact same because that's what makes it interesting. You've got, say if you had your team who likes having the ball and likes dominating it, but they come up against a team who are counter-attacking, who enjoy having a team have the ball.
Yeah.
They don't want the ball.
Yeah.
All they want to do is hit you on the break when you make a mistake. So you can see both teams have what they want. One team has the ball, they're happy out. Another team is waiting for the break. So it's panning out as you kind of expected. I think that was going to happen in the Galway and the Mayo game, but obviously the red card kind of changed it, so that was another dimension. But then you have to remember you have your way of playing and you have to focus in on that and not get distracted by everything else.
And do top teams now have variety? Like, is the aim with Kerry, or maybe it's there already, to be able to say, well, we can counter-attack, or we can play a possession-based game, or if we really need to go for broke in a game, we can flood forward, or we can defend a lead. Are you working on various almost approaches that you can use for certain games, or has it got to that stage yet?
It has, because you're going to be faced with different scenarios in every game. You know, the ball could be thrown in and it could be in the back of your net, you know, in 2 seconds, and you're suddenly facing a whole different game to what you thought. Or you could get a player sent off in the first half. You could have a different scenario there. So obviously you prepare first of all for your best case scenario and try and absolutely get that down to a T and be the best team you can be. But the chances of you getting to play that way, I would say, are at half. Yeah.
I presume in your part of the world, on your part of the pitch, you don't particularly like teams that completely flood defence from word go and just have men all around you. I presume that's the worst nightmare. Well, I don't know, at times, but you kind of, when you're up to speed with it then and you're sharp, you'd be surprised how you find space in different places, and that's what gets you going then. And once you mentally prepare for it, you get used to it. And then the upside of that is that if a team is that defensive, you will have the ball, like, realistically, you know, so you get more opportunities to seek it out. Yeah,
so there are kind of ups and downs to it, but in terms of getting the ball in front of the goal, you're probably not going to get as much, but you can do damage in different areas if you mentally psych yourself up for it.
So if you've got midfielders and half forwards who can pick a pass and you get a bit of eye contact going and you rehearse it, there's pockets in there still.
Exactly. Oh, definitely, because...
Actually, Kieran Whelan was saying he thinks maybe we need to go down to 13 aside, that there's no space anymore, teams are too fit, they can cover the ground, but you're saying it's still okay?
I think it is, yeah, because it just needs... You need to be able to pick off a team's weaknesses. So if they've flooded defence, you need to be able to chip the points over from outside. And, you know, every time someone does something, there's a way around it. You just have to be good enough to do it. So that's what's happened with us, especially. You know, we haven't been able to find a way to absolutely expose a team's weakness if it hasn't been our A game, maybe.
Yeah.
So, as you said, with the scenarios, once you get them down to T, you'll be hoping that you'll be able to pick them off then.
I guess mentally preparing yourself for the prospect of being surrounded by men is what you have to do, as opposed to, you know, you think 15 years ago, Gooch, you know, it was almost like, what the hell is going on here? They didn't even know, whereas you've time to get ready for it. I saw Eamon Fitzmaurice was saying that the size of the Kerry squad is big at the moment. He was saying for our final internal game ahead of the Clare game, we have 34 involved, and he said there's another few who are doing their own work and ticking over in case I need to bring them in. So that's bigger than in recent years. I guess it's going to be a more demanding season. What are those A versus B games? Are they a mixture of both? Are they highly competitive or gloves off kind of thing? Or what's the best approach these days at inter-county level for those A versus B type games? No,
they're helter-skelter, those games, because you have... Well, if you're picked on an A team, you've something to hold on to. You know, it's kind of a mindset. And if you're picked on a B team, your back is kind of up and you want to absolutely kill the fella who's opposite you. So, no, there's no hands off it anyway, definitely not.
Yeah.
But the thing about this year, if we're getting ahead of ourselves, which we won't, but say, hopefully, fingers crossed, Kerry get into Super 8s, which would be very interesting, hugely exciting.
Yeah.
You're going to use at least 30 players. Like you have no option, because you're not going to play 4 games in 5 weeks with the same 15.
Could you manage 4 and 5? And I know you're approaching this summer probably with a degree of, well, let's see how the body holds up to it, but the prospect of 4 full 70 minutes in 5, would that strike you as very difficult at this point?
It would strike me as very exciting. And honestly, it gives me a smile on my face even thinking about that. It would make me feel like such a player again, because I've missed so much.
Yeah.
But to play those games would be brilliant, yeah. In terms of holding up, I would say, yeah, everyone will be fine, but you got the possibility of a red card, you got the possibility of a black card, suspension, an injury. You know, you've got lots of possibilities. Plus, you have to just get the fresh legs in there. You're not going to be as good in the 4th week as you were in the 1st week.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you might think you're a Superman, but you ain't going to be as good. So you need the fellas absolutely rowing in to know that they're going to have a huge part to play.
When you talk there about being desperate to play and really looking forward to it, just for people who have vaguely know that you've had your injury difficulties, I was just checking back this morning. So obviously 2014 Footballer of the Year, All-Ireland champion, 23 years old. 2015, the shoulder operation, never quite got back right in 2015. 2016, you popped the other shoulder in December of 2015, and that hampers with your 2016. I think you started 1 championship game in 16. 2017, missed the league. Very good in Munster. Remember, you got man of the match and 9 points against Clare, and then probably knocks took their toll. And then I was looking at the league this year, calf tear against Donegal, or calf strain anyway, and then hamstring strain on return. So that is like such a tough hand of cards to be dealt as a footballer of the year at 23 years old?
It was my own fault, most of them, because, do you know, when you get an injury, I'd say it to any fella now, if he got an injury, you have to make sure you get that injury right, because you might come back and play early and get away with it. But 6 weeks down the line, something else will catch up with you because you've compensated in some way or whatever. You just have to give it the time. It's the hardest thing to do, is give an injury the time, because you might feel fine.
Were you rushing back for nearly all of them?
I was really, like, yeah.
There's championship games to get back for.
Yeah, there's championship games to get back for, yeah. And you miss it so much, and it's your life. You know, it's 100% your life. But that 15, all right, we got to the county championship final with our club, the Legion, and it was late 15, and I popped the other shoulder, so I got the two of them done that winter.
How do you pop the two of them?
Well, I didn't pop two of them at the same time.
I know, but how do you pop two of them even 2 months apart, or 2 years apart, a year apart?
I popped one of them before the semi-final and the next one in the final in the replay. So I just got the two of them done. Right. To try and get rid of that problem, but the doctor took it. So that was a hard.
I'd say it's very serious. Did the doctor look at you and say, "Yeah, you the shape of your body or something, you're more at risk for shoulders," or is it just bad luck?
No, he said, yeah, I was at the time, but I think he said he's after fixing that now. So at least that's one problem out the way. But they're just something. They just become part of your life. Then everyone has one of them. You know, every top player, I'd say, or every player playing with a county team has an injury that he has to look after. 4 times a week or every day or whatever. Like,
you're prehabbing your shoulder area now. It's keeping strength up as simple as it's just weights or stretching, or
it's not weights. You do your weights anyway, but it's all your band work and stuff like that. You know, your rotations.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. Not the mirror stuff. Like, you know what I mean, you wouldn't be whipping out the band at the beach. But that's just everybody has that one thing. Yeah.
Do you feel like? Does it feel like a lost 4 years? Does it feel like I can't believe I'm 27 and that's suddenly happened?
It does a bit, yeah, but I'm happy enough with it because I feel like I'm 22 again. Do you know, it sounds messed up, but it's like I've come in and I'm not sure about where I am in the panel, in the team. I got those insecurities kind of again that drive you. They give you way more.
You've got to prove yourself again.
Exactly,
You've got to be the best boy in class at training every night.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think it's a nice way to be. And then obviously you still have the confidence that you've got from before that you can get back. So, but it's about injuries. You can't try and be the same player again. You have to be different and be better. You know, if you try and you're watching videos of what you did before, you know, it's rubbish. Like, because it's even if you didn't get injured, your progression is going to be different. You can't try and be the same again. So, I think that I've come back a little bit different, and I think that a little bit more tuned into the game. I think so. I'm looking forward to this kind of second half of my career. You know.
And physically, do you feel as fast and as nippy over the first 5 yards, or is that to be seen, or do you feel good?
Maybe so, but I feel good. Yeah, okay. I feel good. Sure, my legs haven't done a tap.
you're the freshest 27-year-old in the country.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting you talk about at the start. I mean, it's clear you're very tactically aware and tuned in and trying to learn from the game. So maybe in some respects you've used these 3-4 years still to watch football intently. Players often learn from being out for a season and watching. No one wants 4 out, I appreciate, but maybe you've improved in that respect if you're a bit more tuned in tactically, as you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've probably enjoyed the game more because when you're playing, you're completely isolated with your job, what you're doing,
yes,
you know, and you're completely smothered by that. But then if you take a step back and you actually appreciate different parts of the game, like I was saying earlier that I went to a couple of the Kerry League games this spring just as a supporter, just to see what the story was of it. I really enjoyed it because you got to see kind of the relationship between the supporters and the players, and you know what goes on in the stand. Like, it's interesting, and it just it gave me an extra angle just to kind of motivate me to come back. So.
Did you I don't know, do you read media or do you follow closely? You didn't read Paul Galvin yesterday in the Sunday Times?
I didn't.
Nothing bad at all. He was talking about, he was over to give a talk to the London footballers.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and he was saying that he asked the panel, how many of you own a football? And one person put up their hand, and Galvin's thinking, well, he didn't think it, he said it to them as well. That's all wrong. You know, you all own boots.
Ain't gonna do it for you, yeah.
Boots worth £100 plus easy, and you don't have a football to kick around all the time. I was thinking of Pat Lam, who when he went into Connacht, made sure they all had a rugby ball at the start, just have it in your hands. Galvin was talking about, you see hurlers, they always have a hurl and a sliotar. You know, walking down the street, they won't just have a hurl, they'll have a sliotar as well.
It's almost cool.
Yeah, it's a bit trendy to have a hurl.
It's like cool to have a hurl, yeah, but it has to be like that with football as well, because you're not going to get your skills up, without it. Because
do you own a football?
Yeah, I have a bag of balls at home, yeah.
I figured you would. You can. I can name the footballers in the country who I think have a bag of balls. So you go and do your own work on your own in a field with the bag of balls. Mm-hmm. What does that entail? What is that?
It depends. So you got, as an inside forward, you kind of have different parts of your game. The first one, probably the most important thing, would be handling. So that's tougher to do on your own, but you just got to find a wall and maybe a bouncy ground, that might skew the ball up. Those goalie drills where they throw the ball and it hits something and the goalie has to react like that,
An unpredictable surface or bends. Yeah.
They're always good just to get the eye in. Simple stuff like that. And then in terms of...
How often might you do that? I know you're training all the time. Like, is it often?
It depends. Ideally, you'd want to be, as a free taker and a forward, you probably want to be getting 2 extra sessions in yourself. But a lot of time that isn't realistic again because you're training so hard and you're trying to stay fit and everything. But I have gotten a chance to do that this year. So I think that's maybe I have a bit of an advantage with that this year.
And would you be on a pitch, say, and almost pretending you're in a game? As in, I've got the ball, I'm going to beat an imaginary man, turn back onto my right, pop it over, dummy solo, the crowd goes
100%.
Wild. Are you in that space?
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah. Okay. Commentary and all. I used to do that when I was a kid. I used to have the commentary, but you would do things that you think you're going to do, definitely. 100%, all the time.
Yeah.
And try and put pressure on yourself. But a lot of the sessions that say you can't do any intensity because you're not going to go, right, I'm going to get myself tired here and kick 10 points because you've knackered yourself in training.
Okay.
So you just have to do kind of low intensity, technique-based stuff, yeah. Okay. And then just reps.
Were you always two-footed?
For as long as I can remember, really just from that. My father used to really get it home, but he was left-footed, and I'd say when he had the ball, I'd say people used to, when a left-legged player had the ball, right?
Yes.
The whole stand is shouting, "Get him on his left, on his left, on his left."
Yeah.
And then there's nothing better than turning back on the right.
Beautiful, yeah.
So for that alone, I'd say my father wanted me to be able to do that.
Lefties are especially bad at turning back onto the right, I think.
Yeah, but
quite often they're so good on their left.
Yeah, I know, but you never hear a right-legged player going down the wing and everyone shouting, "Get his right leg."
Yeah.
It's just because the left-legged player looks so different or something.
Well, it looks brilliant.
Well,
it's very elegant. A good left-footed player is elegant.
Good lefty, yeah.
So is that just as bloody simple as kicking the ball with your dad and him saying right foot only, or just working on it yourself on your own and slowly but surely getting better?
But I suppose when you're young, you're not practicing. You're just
having fun.
Yeah, you're just playing around. And then he'd say, "No, you're brutal at that, messing," and then you'd be obsessed with it. Beat him with that next time or whatever. It was all little things like that. But
how comfortable are you on your right now? It looks very, but I presume there's some. It can't quite be as good as the left.
No, never will be.
Yeah,
but as I said, because everyone says, "Man, get his left," you have to be able to have a couple of kicks at least in your locker, But I wouldn't be obsessed with it now or anything.
Okay.
I think because in a game, right, especially in a final or something, you still have to have your go-to leg.
Yes.
Because you can get caught between the two. You can be like, right, I'm both-footed, but they might both only be 7 out of 10.
Yes.
So you still have to have your good leg.
It's a bit like in golf having your go-to shot under pressure.
Exactly,
Luka Modric, literally. I hadn't noticed this until one of his teammates said it. Might have been Jermaine Genius. Someone who played with him at Spurs. They said, watch Luka Modric. He literally refuses to use his left foot.
Really?
And I've been watching him the last year, and I'm still waiting for him to use his left foot once.
And he's never got the ball taken off him.
No, and he had to cross it yesterday, or at the weekend in the final with his left foot, but he went outside of the right.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's important, but I guess it's not everything. It's probably more important for you.
Well, if you can come up with something different, yeah. Well, every man to his own, but I would say that being left leg is so obvious that you have to be able to come back on the other one. So yeah.
I found your blog.
What do you make of it?
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to more. I mean, I'd love to. I guess you don't want to just write about football, but
no, yeah. Well,
can I give people a sample?
Go on.
It's far more interesting than what most people are blogging about, especially intercounty footballers. So you basically, you've only done 2. I mean, it's not like you've done hundreds from what I can see. So
do you know what happened? I got injured and I lost a bit of appetite for it.
the blogging.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once I'm fit now, I'll get my energy back for it.
I want you back on it. So, you talked about your reason for doing it. So you said sometimes it's testing being left alone to have to listen to yourself for too long. At least I find it is. And I'm annoying. I annoy myself, so you're in for a treat. I'm going to start annoying on a wider scale. There's no point in going down alone. I think I might need to put some stuff down on paper or on a phone. It's liberating, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
That's a good enough stated ambition. That's like your memo for
I just started writing around that time because...
When was this?
At the time, this was around January, February maybe.
Right.
I was just in great form. I said, bit of time on my hands here, I'll just start writing stuff. And it just felt natural, you know. But then...
It's funny, some people
you'd
write...
be surprised then about how many people actually read it. And then...
Will you have it up on your Twitter feed?
Yeah.
As a link to it?
Yeah, well, I wanted to see how many people got to it.
Right, okay.
Because I was even in it with my buddies and I was saying, how am I going to share this or whatever, and they'll do this or that or that. I was like, right, so I want to see how many people I could get it to. And literally, the amount of people that said it to me was crazy, like, so that kind of intimidated me a bit.
Well, it's a bit... You do say in the blog that I want to write as if nobody's reading. And that's very important if you're going to write well, I think.
Yeah.
But then if lots of people are saying it to you all the time...
Well, I suppose that's only for the first couple, isn't it?
The novelty might wear off. Though if you get very good, then everyone will keep... It's interesting you said I did it when I was in good form. Some people write kind of cathartically when they're in bad form to get stuff off their chest, but you actually just felt...
Oh, I'd start slating then. There'd be nobody safe.
Are you, like, do you read a lot? Or did you just fancy a bit of writing? Or have you written growing up?
No, not really. I was always into English and stuff, but never overly academically based or anything. It was like, even if you see my grammar, it's not great or anything. It's just, I just write the way I talk. Do you know what I mean?
Kind of stream of consciousness.
Yeah, it was kind of just to see how I get on and see if I could do it when I was older, do you know?
Yeah. Well, it was
try
a
few things.
Listen, I'm sure, like, sports journalism in 20 years' time writing about the game, like, clearly if you have tactics and you like English, then it might be a nice way to keep your hand in. Because you did say, in my current job, it's not a place for opinions or observations, it's more behaving, avoiding doing anything wrong rather than doing anything right. So there's long spells of days or weeks where you don't actually allow your mind to think for itself at all.
That's deep.
That is some deep stuff.
Well, yeah, I was probably bored around that time. I was thinking, so it'd be nice to just say, but it was actually around the time that people were getting cut out for saying things, especially online.
Where, like, they
and we were saying, even as a group of my buddies at home, that, geez, you can't actually say anything.
Yeah.
So even if it's a funny joke, like, there was people getting reported for saying everything, coming out apologising for things. Like, some of those apologies...
Do you feel it's gone too far, especially online?
Yeah, online is so dangerous. I mean, it's reckless. Because there's people out there who just want to take you down, like. They'll see something that you've said and they will absolutely go with it, like.
And then there's an army ready to weigh in.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You're that day's...
Yeah. But unless you have to stick... Well, if you're controversial, it's not that you have to keep being controversial, but again, the novelty wears off. If you say the odd absolutely scandalous thing, you'll be home.
Yeah.
You know, but if you keep at it, I'd say it'll be all right.
So we're going to get more of this blog across the summer?
We might. Well, maybe the summer, I don't know.
That might be
after the summer.
You might have to run about that by Eamon Fitzmaurice, I'd say, would you?
After the summer, if I get a few topics now. I had a couple in the pipeline, all right, but...
Go on.
Oh, you'll have to wait now. €5 to subscribe to the blog.
Well, I would love you to write about the season, even when it's done, or just your thoughts on it, or what it feels like, or, you know, the boredom of it, or the exhilaration of it, or the stuff we don't maybe suspect is going on, or...
Yeah, that'd be interesting, actually. Yeah, I might do that.
I can be your agent. We can sort out some kind of fee. Because it struck me, well, your point about, like, you know, and I'll let you go here. God, we've gone over time. But, you know, we're all in work. You're kind of a bit hemmed in. You just got to... If you're talking about being proactive or expressing yourself or imagination or kind of getting outside yourself a little bit, well, like, that's football. Like, football is the perfect vehicle for kind of...
100%. You can be whoever you want on the football field. You could be the quietest man in Europe in the classroom or in work. And you could step onto the football field and be Sergio Ramos, do you know? So I think that's probably the most addictive side of it. Like, you just transform yourself by accident, just something comes out of you. So obviously, if you probably have that in you, you can probably be creative in other ways as well if you gave it the time.
You seem similar to how you are on the field, I have to say.
Yeah.
Full of life, ready to go, energy.
Sometimes not in the mornings.
What is a good 2018 for you personally, finally? What if we're sitting here in 6 months' time, maybe there's an All-Ireland, maybe there's not, I guess that's everyone's ultimate ambition, but what would let you kind of say in September, thank God, after the last 4 years, where do you want to be? What do you want to have achieved?
Well, without looking too far ahead, as you said with the Super 8s, to play those 4 games or 5 games in 4 weeks or 4 and 5 or whatever, build up to that. If I could play in those, I'd really feel like back as a proper player again. And then I'm so excited about the group that we have in Kerry at the moment, so I don't think we have to force that. I'm not going to say we're going to win the All-Ireland and but I think that we have an exciting group. If we can get a bit of a roll going and express ourselves, put our personalities out there into the football, I think that we can have a very good year expressing ourselves in the way that we said earlier. I think that there's a couple of fellas in Kerry who can really do that. So if we can get a couple of those games and a good run,
that'd be a nice summer.
It would be a nice summer.
Okay.
Results. We won't even talk about results, but just to get that feel-good feeling.
Results aren't the point ultimately in many ways. Listen, pleasure. Best of luck with things. I want to see that blog motoring, and we'll talk when we talk. Thanks a million.
Pleasure. Thanks very much.
Off the Ball on News Talk. Join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter.
On the 30th anniversary of Euro 88, Off the Ball are bringing you a very special roadshow featuring the stars of Stuttgart. Join Off the Ball's Nathan Murphy and Kevin Kilban alongside Ronnie Whelan, Kevin Moran, John Giles and the man who put the ball in the England net, Ray Houghton, for a night of cracking nostalgia. The Off the Ball Euro 88 Roadshow, Vicar Street, Thursday, June 7th, in association with Boyle Sports.